Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm the City Witch. So for today's video, I'm going to be showing you how you can use a regular animal oracle deck to discover which animal spirits want to work with you for the year ahead. I recommend when you conduct this reading that you do it either at the end of the year before or the very beginning of the year. I tend to conduct mine between Christmas and New Year, ready for the next year. So I've already figured out which animal guides I have for 2023. So I'm going to be working with this very simple but beautiful deck called Pocket Animal Spirit. This deck is brilliant for this type of reading because it already has animal spirits that are divided up into the 5 different elements. So earth, air, fire, water and spirit. Now, if I show you the back of the box, and I hope it does show up on the video, you can see all the symbols for that there. The guidebook tells you which animals fall under which elements as well, so it's easy for you to split the deck up in order to figure this out, and I'll show you why we're going to do that in a moment. Now, if you don't have an animal oracle deck and it doesn't have the elements, you're going to have to kind of use your common sense to split it up. So animals, for example, that can fly, that are very much about the air element, are going to fall in the east for air. Animals that are very land-based are going to be earth. Animals that reside in the ocean, the rivers and the lakes are going to be water. And any animals that live in hot environments or require heat to stay alive are going to be the element of fire. Any leftover cards you have could be put into a little pile to be your spirit element, okay? Now, I'm going to be doing a separate video to show you how to do this with a tarot deck, but for now, in this one, we're going to focus on an oracle. So go ahead and split up your deck into what you believe would be the correct elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit, and then we'll begin, guys. Okay, guys, so now you've split your deck up. This is what it should look like. So they should all be in their perspective elements. So we have earth, air, fire, water and spirit. Now in this particular deck, which as I say is the animal spirit deck, there's only a few cards left for the spirit, but that's okay. If you decide you have maybe a mythological deck that you want to use at this point, or you have another animal oracle deck, so you might have more than one in your collection, you can choose to combine them, especially if they have different animals in it that you would like the opportunity to work with. You can mix 2 oracle decks, it's completely up to you. This one is perfect for me. It has the right amount of animals, and when you count in each of the elements, there are 14 cards, which actually matches the tarot as well, because when you think about it, you have 1 to 10, and then you have your court cards, which makes 14 cards in each of the elements. So this makes sense. And as I say, I will be showing you in a separate video how we do this with tarot. If I did it in this one, it'd be too long, guys. So I'll do a separate one for tarot and this one for oracle. So this is what it should look like when you split it up. The next thing I want you to do is you're going to write on a piece of paper all of this information, leaving a gap so that you can fill in whatever animal comes up for you in the direction. Now, I've already done this, and I will show you what mine looks like at the end of the video. So what you're going to do is write at the top, directional animal guide, then you're going to write north equals pentacles equals earth, and then the symbol for that. So you can see what I've done there, guys. And then you're going to write down all of the information that that particular direction rules over, so you know when you get that animal how its powers and abilities are going to influence and help that area of your life when a problem, an issue, or something comes up that you need help and guidance with. So you can go to that animal that's going to help you for the year. You can ask them for their help, and you can look at their animal medicine, their guidance, their mythology, and all the different information that is about that animal, especially if it's an animal that's local to you. And you can figure out how best to apply its teachings, its information, its guidance to your life to help you through that particular issue. So for the north, which if you were working with a tarot deck would be pentacles. So the north rules over the element of earth, and then I've given you the symbol for that so you can match it to this deck beautifully. And then here, the north, ruler of the earth element, rules over the section of your life that relates to home, family, money and career, material possessions, and mundane, average, everyday life. Then you do the same thing with all the other elements. So for the east, in my particular decks I work with, east tends to relate to wands in the tarot. However, in some decks, The east and the air element relates instead to the swords. So swap those as you need to, guys, and just use your common sense there of what makes sense to you and what feels right to you. So for me, the east was the wands, and east is always air. So no matter what, if it was swords for the air element, it would still be air and it'd still reside in the east. The only thing that would change is the suits if you were working with a tarot. So east is wands equals air, and I've given you the sigil. And then this rules over intellect, teaching, learning, planning, knowledge, and problem solving. And then for the south, south is always fire. And you've got the sigil for that. And as I say, it can be interchangeable, but for me, it's the swords in the tarot. And this rules over change, actions, passions, desires, and animal instincts. Now, with actions, for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. And when an action is taken, especially if it's against you, you will react to that. So you can also choose to write reactions as well, if you want to. And then for the west, it's of course the cups or chalices in your tarot. Ruler of the element of water, and that rules over in your life, emotions, relationships, connections, love language, and empathy. And then I didn't have enough space on this piece of paper, so turning it over, if you are choosing to choose a animal for spirit, and this is completely up to you, you don't have to do this, guys. Spirit resides in the middle, and it's represented by the major arcana cards in a tarot, and obviously is spirit. So spirit is your higher guidance, intuition, higher self, your spirituality. That could also be replaced with religion if you're more religious than spiritual. And it represents as well your faiths and your beliefs, okay? And that particular animal would rule and reside over the other four and be your most powerful ally for the year in the animal kingdom. Now, I do want to say at this point, guys, after you've created this, just make sure you leave a gap so you can write in your animal and then look up the mythology and write down any notes. You could choose to do a page if you want for your animal. Do a lot of research, look at the mythology, the powers, the abilities, their magical talents as well, and how they can help you in your craft, your practice, and your spiritual path. So there's a lot of information you can gain if you want. Now, with choosing cards for your spirit ally, you could choose to use a mythological deck if you want. So if you're very connected to dragons, for example, you could choose an entire dragon deck, and there might be a very specific dragon that's going to rule over the other animals for the year. You might be really into dinosaurs or really unusual animals, so you might choose a deck that has a lot of different mythical creatures in it. You might choose a deck on unicorns or mermaids. You don't have to specifically just work with the leftovers of this deck or work with any leftover animals that you believe would represent spirit. You can choose to incorporate another deck to represent that if you want. Just be flexible and creative and do what works for you. So now we've done this, I'm going to show you how to lay this out. So for now, we're just going to move spirit to one side. So as I've said before, we put earth there in the north. And then we have fire in the south, and then west and east. So this is how it should look. And then if you are working with spirit, you would place spirit in the middle like that. So this is what you're looking at, guys, a cross design when you're doing this. And then all you would do is turn them over, give them a good shuffle. Like so. And you could choose to shuffle while focusing on the direction. Okay, so that's what it looked like face down. So you can choose to pick up, say, the north and go, okay, spirit guides of the north, reveal to me who is going to be my animal guide for the year. Give it a good shuffle and then turn over the top one. And that's really funny, actually, because I'm pretty sure my guide was the horse, so it's come up again. So when I did mine for this year, the horse is correctly the guide for the north for me, and it's come up again. So it's just showing you how accurate this is, guys. So you do that for each one, and then you would write out all the information, and then based on the information that would help you going forward understand how to approach certain problems, issues, blockages or changes in that area of your life, which guide to go to for help and assistance. And when that guide comes through very strongly in symbolism in life, it's an indication that that guide is trying to help you through something, okay? So this is what it should look like at the end. So this is mine. So as I said, horse. So, you know, that was just really funny. So obviously the horse represents momentum, freedom, expansive energy and force. So those are the powers of the horse. Now there's more to it than that, and I'm pretty sure I did go into more detail, or did I don't know if I did it in this notebook. No, not yet. But what I would do is I would probably choose to write out the north again at the top as a header, and then put the horse, and then write down loads of information, anything I can find on the horse, anything that has relevance to me, that resonates with me. And then when I want help and assistance, I can go to horse for that. I can also use these cards now to meditate with horse. I could choose to buy a horse figurine or a statue or something, or a crystal that's been carved to look like a horse. I could use that in meditations for the year. I could choose to just simply place this in a card holder with a few crystals and a candle around it when I want to connect to horse. I can do meditations and visualizations. I can do spirit quests and journeys with the horse as well. I can travel over the hedge as a witch and go to other realms and ask horse to be my guide through those experiences. So there's a lot of different ways you can work with your guides. It's just completely up to you. And you can also incorporate them into your spell work as well. So if you're looking to, you know, maybe have a bit of freedom, you're too bogged down responsibility, horse would be great for freeing that in everyday life. So I could work with the horse to give me more freedom, to have people step up and take responsibility off me, so I've got more time to do the things that I enjoy. Okay, so essentially, obviously I haven't shuffled all of these properly, but just to flip them over to give you an idea of what everything will look like. So this is kind of what you would get, a spread similar to this. And these would be the animals that you have in those zones, and you would basically just write about them and work with them throughout the year. So it's really simple, guys, really easy to do. If you have a small deck like this, and this one actually wasn't expensive, the pocket one was about 11 quid on Amazon, so not bad. The full version is £25 if you want the larger version, and it's easy for you to work with these cards, have them with you, and you know, work with your animal guides by using these cards, I believe anyway. But yeah, so very, very simple. If you're working with a regular oracle that isn't already split into elements, like I said, just use your common sense, look up information about the animals. Anything that's water-based is probably most likely going to be the water element. Anything that's in a fiery zone. So just give you an example, because fire is probably the hardest one. So in this we have the camel, the elephant, the hyena, the cheetah, the zebra. So obviously the zebra, you know, lives in extremely hot places. So that makes sense, even though it's an earth animal. We have the gazelle, we have a tiger, we have the fire ant, the cobra, lizard, panther, scorpion, tarantula and lion. And obviously these decks aren't going to have every single animal in them, so feel free to combine a few different oracle decks to incorporate as many animals as possible. Don't remove animals that repulse you as well. And if you get an animal that you don't really bond with, like for example, I'm not particularly very fond of the camel. However, the camel is the animal that I got for fire this year. So, and when I actually looked up its mythology, so the camel represents resourcefulness, independence, and knows oneself. So you know your true self, and people don't sway you easily, and you don't cave under peer pressure as a result. And when I thought about that, I was like, that's exactly me, especially lately, because I know myself, and I know what I want, and I know what I don't want, and I know what I do and don't want to do. And if I don't want to do something, I would flat out just tell people, basically. So I'm very confident in that, in myself. And this perfectly resonated with me, even though I don't particularly, it's not that I don't like the animal, I'm just not particularly, I don't feel anything for it, basically. But when I got it, it did resonate with me. It does have meaning to me. It is working with me, and it is my energy for the year. And more as the years progressed, I have definitely recognized the camel's energy coming through into my life. So it can surprise you. So don't think to yourself, oh, I want my guide to be something cool and amazing. I want to have, a tiger or a lion because they're big and powerful. That isn't what this is about, guys. This is about guiding you and helping you on your journey, and recognizing animal spirits that are trying to come in and have valuable lessons and information and guidance for you, things that you can learn and you can grow with. So certainly consider working with some of the animals that you are particularly afraid of or repulsed by or don't like, or maybe you're even afraid of, because there could be a lesson there within the fear. So any animal that particularly really does trigger you, it might be worth doing some shadow work on that as well, and looking into the mythology and figuring out why is it triggering you. And there could be also some past life stuff there as well, and that could be why the animals come up, because it's actually a past life guide and there's a reason why you're fearing it in some way. So consider all of that when you're doing these readings, and let me know if anybody does do this spread, what animals you get and what you've been picking up as the year goes on. If anyone wants to ask me any questions, please go ahead and leave me a comment on my channel, and I will of course get back to you as soon as I can. I do look at my comments and check my channel every single day, so chances of me replying quickly are high, guys. So thank you very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and click the bell so YouTube will tell you when my next video comes out. If you'd like to offer light, love and support to my channel, you can do that through Patreon or my Amazon wishlist. Both links are provided. And if you'd like to contact me for any of my magical services, you can do that through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or via email. All the links are provided, guys. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for my next video, which will be about working with an animal tarot deck to do this. Blessed be, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.